Once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'd like to welcome everybody back who is on the live stream here at the prowatercross.com fan page. Working with the music right now, but we'd like to welcome everybody back. We're just about ready to get started with our CBS broadcast of the Pro Watercross World Championships here live from Naples, Florida. Again, I'll be turning it over to Mike Remar and Larry Rippenkroger, who will be doing the live call for CBS Sports. Right now, we'll get ready to go down to the starting line and through the lineups here with the Pro-Am ski stock class.
So if Sophie were to flat out win this, correct.
It was just for a position online qualifying.
Is there an advantage to being in one spot or the other?
Well, you'd like to have the pull. You can have the pull, which is the inside spot on either the inside split or outside split. So we're going to run them all on one split. So having the inside spot is an advantage.
Okay. Testing.
About these bikes. Is this where I want to have this mic right now? Do I move closer? Do I move further away? How does it sound?
You sound good to me.
Okay.
Hey, Mike and Larry. Mike, you first. What's your association with the sport? How would I, what's your connection? I don't need a long list. Just
By the way, before we get started today, I'd like to say a very special thanks to Hidden Trails, Sea-Doo, Jetlift, which is our presenting sponsor, and the official tote. Special thanks to Shark Energy, our official energy drink. Jet Trim, the official mat. Of course, Solus, our official prop. HydroTurf, Jet Renew, the official cleaner here at the Pro Watercross World Championships, WatCon.com, as well as Bomber Eyewear and Squatch by Jack Links. We're sponsored locally by the Naples Herald, the Lee Herald, and Johnsonville Marketplace. And folks, we are just about set to go here. You're getting ready to check out the Pro-Am ski stock class. Quick rundown of the schedule for the afternoon. We're going to go with the Pro-Am ski stock class. Then we'll go with the Pro-Am runabout box stock final. We'll break for freestyle, come back with the Sport GP, the Pro-Am ski GP, and the final race of the day will be the Pro-Am runabout GP. That's the schedule, folks.
Did we deem that it was the HydroTurf and the Jetlift whole shot? We did get both of those right. We had the whole shot on one or the other.
we're going to alternate Jetlift and HydroTurf.
Okay, so it's definitely HydroTurf. Yes. Now let me ask you this, are we going to do a rundown of the lineup down online before we start the race, or are we going right into the race? Okay. Okay.
Check 1, 2, 3, 4. And back in Naples. Back in Naples, the Pro-Am ski stock racers making their way to the starting line as we are just about set for a long day of racing here in Naples, Florida. Mike Remar, 13-year veteran of the Pro Watercross circuit. Larry Rippenkroger, 4-time world champ, alongside Dave Benz. We'll have Mackenzie Thurkill a little bit later on in the broadcast here on CBS Sports Network. And the racers getting the engine started and just about set to go. What should we be looking here for, Mike, in this Pro-Am ski stock race?
Well, I'll tell you what, yesterday we had the qualifier and we had some really fast machines here. David Cabrera on the number 51 machine pulled the whole shot yesterday and was able to lead that one wire to wire.
And they are off the line, but they're going to red flag it from the get-go and bring the racers back to the starting line.
Well, you know what? A lot of times when there's a red flag start like this, for people out there who don't understand what the flags might mean, a red flag means there was not a clean start. So somebody either left the line too early or possibly even didn't hold their position or even might have had a 2-minute hold, which means the mechanics weren't ready to go on that machine when the band snapped.
And we are just about ready for the restart here with the Pro-Am ski stock. The racers getting their engines started and racing underway here at Sugden National Park in Naples, Florida. And they are heading out at over 60 miles per hour and getting through the turn and the hole shot belonging to David Cabrera out of Miramar, Florida. Change this anchor. Jet lift hole shot.
So the jet lift hole shot going to David Cabrera out of Miramar, Florida, doing it upright for his sponsors, Broward Motorsports, Team Mean Racing, and Wetsport Racing. As they come off that inside split section and down the front straightaway, it's all about Cabrera right now, Larry.
It is, and he's got clean water out in front of him, which is a huge advantage. Now he's just thinking, ride hard, ride smooth, and don't mess up.
At these World Championships here on Lake Avalon, fellas, it is one of the more desirable locations to have this event because of the fact you're on a lake, it is flat water, it is a good advantage to get out into that clean water.
Yeah, you know, it's very much set up like arena cross here. The way that the layout is with the docks down here on the right side of the course by the chicane, it kind of makes it so that the course shifts down and around the natural amenities of the course, and it's great, very much like an arena here in Naples, Florida.
They were here last year as well, so Naples happy to welcome them back.
Looks like David Cabrera on that 51 boat going to elect to take the outside split section of the course. Now, Gage Schoenherr on the 22 machine finished second yesterday in the qualifier, and he's currently running second as well with boat number 10, Callaway Turner, coming off that inside split section, trying to close that gap on Schoenherr.
Schoenherr, just 17 years old, out of Clearwater, Florida. And he's only been racing for 1 year, but grew up racing sailboats since the age of 7. Says that taking on this sport was a natural addition after a life of racing sailboats.
You know, and Gage Schoenherr, he actually ran some of the amateur classes earlier in the week, and so he's already been crowned a world champion as an amateur. We are looking at Pro-Am ski stock here as he is trying to close that gap on David Cabrera out of Miramar, Florida, who is running away with this one.
Yeah, Cabrera right now comfortably out in front as they will go for 10 minutes before going to the final lap. And a little bit of a different setup for this event than some of the other events during the season when they will race 3 motos. This, in essence, only 2 motos, the qualifier, and then setting up the finals here today.
Yeah, it really puts more of the focus on the main event. When you have a moto-style format, you'll actually have either 2 motos where you get your finish in each moto and you tabulate them with your overall, or sometimes there's even a 3-moto format. This was a qualifier yesterday, so all the action and all of the finishes in this race will determine who's crowned the world champion.
And for people who are tuning in here on CBS Sports Network, not all that familiar with this sport, the Pro-Am ski stock class basically means stock is what you can get. You go to your dealer's showroom and you buy it, you take it into the water, and this is exactly what these guys are racing.
And it makes it tough when you've got a lot of equally prepared machines out there.
You don't get a chance to modify it.
Right, yeah, so it's all about rider, technique, conditioning, training.
Yeah, you know, Larry and Dave, a lot of these guys here, they spend a lot of times with their machines, and that's a lot of times what makes up the world champion. How much time they're spent with the machine, how much they dial it in, and actually realize what the machine can do with their own physical capabilities and the machine itself.
And guys, we see Cabrera has a sizable lead right now, so when you're in that position, and I know both of you gentlemen plenty of experience in this sort of format, when you're in that position, you got that giant lead. What is going through your mind as you try to maintain that lead all the way through?
Well, you're mainly just thinking about maintaining your timing. You try to take a little off. You don't want to go all out and risk the chance of blowing a motor. But at the same time, if you take off too much, you can throw your timing off, and next thing you know, you're swimming. So you got to find that balance there. Just try to stay focused.
It's a lot of time, it's about consistency. Like Larry was saying, you try to maintain your timing. You might get a chance every once in a while to look back over your shoulder and see where your competitors are, because you put too much emphasis on the front side of the race, fatigue sets in, and you can find yourself swimming that second half.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, Mike. I mean, the physical conditioning of these athletes as well, to have to be able to maintain the boat and control the entire race, that takes a toll.
It really does. I mean, one thing we want to make sure that people watching out there at CBS Sports realize is that these are very hardcore athletes. These athletes could leave the sport, go to just about any other sport, and be competitive. That's the kind of shape that they are in.
You got a tester on you? I'll take this back.
So we work our way off the right side chicane of this course, and we go down the back straightaway. You'll see David Cabrera check back over his shoulder. He's trying to figure out how much of a lead he has as he works his way down that back straightaway to the red and green buoy there, and he's going to choose that outside split section. He's got quite a commanding lead.
Cabrera continuing to try and hold that lead.
You know what's interesting here is we see that Gage Schoenherr on the 22 machine elects to follow Cabrera on the outside split section, whereas Callaway Turner on the 10 machine going to run the inside split. That is the best way for a racer to be able to see how the splits are set up and whether or not he can close ground. That white water behind the pumps of those machines is filled with nothing but air. It does not allow you thrust and does not allow you to catch up.
And that's not going to be a good thing, so you try and decide whether you're going to take that inside or outside split. You saw the cross sign there going up by the flag man. That means they are halfway through this race. So 5 more minutes to go before they hit the final lap, and Cabrera, who had the hole shot, just continuing to set the pace here in the Pro-Am ski stock.
Pro-Am ski stock, one of those classes like we mentioned earlier, Larry and Dave. It's one of those machines that you can stop under your local dealer. You could make that purchase, and with a few slight modifications, you could be out here racing. Green flag under the way as Cabrera down that front straightaway. Now he's allowing himself to do what we call the 7th inning stretch. You'll see a lot of the ski racers down in the tray. They're low. They're in a very aggressive riding format. But as you do that, your back starts to get a little bit sore, and so you stretch up, just like baseball, that 7th inning stretch. It allows you to loosen up that back for a minute.
Well, and when you've got the lead, you've got the advantage of being able to do that. A little bit tougher when you're trying to gain some ground.
It is taxing on your entire body, but the lower back is usually the first thing to start to go. So that's a good indication that he's comfortably out in front. He does check over his shoulder once in a while to make sure nobody's gaining ground on him. But yeah, he's taking that moment to stretch out.
Well, Cabrera, a longtime veteran in the sport, he has to have been at least racing now 15, 16 years. So that tells you what kind of shape he's in. We talked about it earlier, the age of Gabe Schoenherr at 17 years old. David Cabrera, just 49 years young.
Hey, more power to him. And let's give a nod here to Sophie Perrin, who's in this race out of West Palm Beach, Florida as well, on the 296 Kawasaki machine. And one of the few women competitors here that we will see on this Sunday in East Naples, Florida. Is that something that you're starting to see more and more of, more female competitors in this sport?
Well, the female racers, quite frequently, there's a class for them. If they want to race in the women's class, they can. But a lot of the women are very aggressive athletes. They train with these guys on weekends and work out with them as well. And so they just want to see, skill set wise, where they stand. And Sophie Perrin doing a nice job today out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
And we'll see Sophie again later today. This is not her first race of the day. How taxing is that, by the way? There are not a lot of racers that are racing in multiple events. There's only a handful that we'll see here today. How difficult is that to gear up for a couple of different races?
That is tough. You know, you put in so much in your first race of the day, and you're out there and giving it everything you've got, but you're also thinking about that other race you have coming, so you're trying to save it a little. And, you know, lots of hydration, a lot of water in between, and as much rest and cool down as best you can, and get back out there at your best to try it again.
And you'll see some of the racers will race in both the stock class as well as the GP class. And how different is it to go from one to the other?
That's a whole different world. The stock class, much more easy to manage, a lot more controllable.
And let's check in for the first time today with the fourth member of our broadcast crew, Mackenzie Thurkill, down on the beach. Mackenzie?
Thanks, guys. Now, you'll notice a lot of these riders have a vest on that looks somewhat like a bulletproof vest. That's actually made up of hard plastic that's helped to protect their spine on the off chance that they were to fall off their ski and their back was exposed. Guys.
How often did you guys have that happen?
Lost count somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I've taken a few shots in the back as well. And, you know, a lot of these riders will wear that type of protective gear. And it is optional this weekend here at the World Championships, as it looks like we've got the one lap to go here, or a couple of minutes to go here for David Cabrera.
And you see David Cabrera now starting to come up on a little bit of lap traffic. How does that come into play now as you're not going to get quite that clean water you've enjoyed the whole race?
Well, the riders are made known that they are about to go a lap down. If you'll see a blue flag with a yellow stripe going on it, that lets the riders know that they are about to be lap traffic. It doesn't mean that they need to bow out and move out of the way, but it does mean that they need to heed to the racers that are passing them coming up through the pack.
And you might see some strategy on Cabrera's strategy going into the straightaway this time, going into the splits. He's always taking the outside, but depending on the rider in front of him, which way he goes, David may change his strategy and come to the inside. We'll see.
Well, Cabrera right now firmly in control. And with 2 minutes left here in this Pro-Am ski stock, our first race of the afternoon for CBS Sports Network, not our first race of the day here in Naples, and full day of racing for the spectators that have made it out here to Lake Avalon and Sugden National Park. And David Cabrera coming across the finish line.
Oh, and we have a major mistake by Cabrera. He thought that was the checkered flag. It was only the white flag. He just went down. He's in second place.
And now he's picking up on it and finally hitting the throttle. He has been passed and no longer in the lead. What a mental error by Cabrera.
Well, Cabrera saw the flag come out. You know, this is a timed event, so we run so many minutes plus one lap. So our flagman had the white flag out that lets him know he's got just one lap to go. Cabrera mistakenly thought that was the checkered flag, started celebrating, and now he has to close that gap and see if he can catch A.J. Lewinstra on the 721 machine. And down the back straightaway, there they go.
And how about Lewinstra just sticking with it, and Cabrera now battling to try and catch him.
As they come off the back straightaway, Lewinstra going to go to the inside, Cabrera going to go to the outside. Cabrera, realizing he made that mental error, is trying to pick back up where he left off, and this is going to be close as they come off that split section. Cabrera on the outside, I got to believe he's got the momentum and is still going to pick up that win. Almost a terrible mistake, David Cabrera, still picking up the win.
Checkered flag comes out. Cabrera, wow, comes from behind to win it. Lewinstra finishes in second, and David Cabrera breathing a sigh of relief after he almost gave away the World Championship on a mental error, but is able to dig down deep and get the machine to the finish line. We will hear from him coming up after this timeout here on CBS Sports Network.
Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, between the races, make sure you stop down and say hello to all of our vendors down there in Performance Alley. And while you're down there, make sure you say hello to Tim. Pick up yourself a Shark Energy drink just to the right of Camera Tower number 1. We've also got the Pro Watercross Tour merchandise booth. They're also located right there beside Camera Tower number 1. Abco sunglasses are in the house, folks, and they've got them 2 for 1 down there all weekend long. Polarized sunglasses, 2 for $30. But again, put some pep in your step with a little bit of Shark Energy. By the way, again, congratulations to David Cabrera. Middle error almost cost him that world title, but he was able to pick back up and able to make the pass in the split as A.J. Lewenstra went to that inside. Again, coming up next, for those of you who are listening in at home, with the visit. Hold on, timeout. Once again, folks, while we have the opportunity, I'd like to say a very special thanks to Hidden Trails, Sea-Doo, Jet Lift, Shark Energy, Jet Trim, Solus, HydroTurf, Jet Renew, Watcon, Bomber Eyewear, and Squatch by Jack Links.
We normally we do more like laps, and normally when they put the number 1, it means you have 1 lap left. And in this case, it was 1 minute left, and I didn't pick that up, so I saw the 1, he flagged at me, and then I said, okay, it's 1 more lap, the next one is the checkered flag. I had plenty of lead, so I said, okay, time to chill. Wrong decision right there.
Well, regardless, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I would like to thank my sponsors, Lewis, Ken Wado, that help us a lot, Exotic Sign, Whamilton, Ruben, everybody that helps me put this program together. That's what makes it fun and makes it interesting.
All right, thank you. And guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mackenzie. So congratulations, as Cabrera is your first world champ of the day here on CBS Sports Network. We will crown another after this timeout.
Say it's the wrong way to leave my heart on this loose frame.
Yep. Sugden National Park in East Naples, Florida. We are just about set for racing as the Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock class has made its way to the start line. A total of 7 racers in this event to determine the World Championship, including the man on the pole, Jeff Dykowski, who is a former 2-time World Champion in this event. And we are just about ready to have the engine started and get things underway. Mike Remar, Larry Rippenkroger, Mackenzie Thurkill, and Dave Benz along with you here on CBS Sports Network.
Dave, we're looking at the Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock class. And box stock basically means exactly that. You can purchase this boat from your dealer and you could be out here racing as you virtually change nothing as you race this machine.
And they drop the flag, drop the line, and they are off the line and going for that jet lift hole shot.
And out comes the red flag.
And so we are going to get a restart here as the red flag comes out.
Yep. Yep.
What did you guys see there?
Looked like there was some bumping going. Mike, have they penalize them for that?
Well, what happens is you have to leave the first slot open, and so Dykowski actually out there has the first slot. He has the pole position. He started to get run inside of the white and then came back to recover.
Right, right.
Back at Sugden National Park, Lake Avalon ready to go as we begin our day of racing here on CBS Sports Network. The Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock class has made its way to the start line. Mike Remar, Larry Rippenkroger, Mackenzie Thurkill, and Dave Benz along with you here on CBS Sports Network as we will crown some world champions here in the Hidden Trails Pro Watercross 2016 World Championships. And right now, a little bit of a delay as one of the racers making his way off of his machine. And they are going to go on and drop the flag. They are underway. Jeff Dykowski off the pole position and comes away with the jet lift hole shot.
So Dykowski pulling that hole shot on the inside split section. We'll see who that is coming off of the outside split section as well. I think it's 149, Tim Ducat, as they come down the front straightaway. Ducat motoring on the outside, but Dykowski takes his line away as they work to the right side of the course and the chicane.
So it's Dykowski in first, then Ducat right now in second.
Looks like boat number 37, Eric Francis on the Kawasaki out there currently running in that third position. Now they worked their way through the right side of the course, which is called the chicane. They worked their way down around two docks and down the back straightaway. Jeff Dykowski already picked himself up a couple of amateur world championships here in Naples, Florida. He's looking to pick one up now in Pro-Am Runabout box stock.
Yeah, Dykowski, as you mentioned, a two-time world champ. Ducat is a 2015 world champion as well. So some pretty impressive credentials. Let's take a look back at the hole shot here, fellas, and tell me what you saw.
Well, you look at the line there as Ducat jumps off the line real well, but so does Dykowski. So they started on different split sections. Dykowski on the inside split, Ducat on the outside split, and as they came to the merge, Dykowski took away Ducat's line.
And there is a look right now at Jeff Dykowski with the lead out of Rydell, Georgia. He's been racing for 15 years.
Ducat on the 149 boat, still back there in that second position, but here comes Eric Francis. Now, Eric Francis, a Kawasaki factory pilot, coming down that back straightaway on the black machine, looking to close the gap. Your first two machines go to the outside split section. Eric Francis going to go to the inside and see if he can get fresh water.
And the fresh water is so key to be able to try and make up some ground, because if you're just taking in air on your intake, it's really not going to power your boat very well.
That's right. It's about the only strategy when you get into that split. If you got a couple riders in front of you, the water's choppy, you've got to try the other side. Even if you prefer the other lane. That's your only chance to make up some ground.
And guys, we had the national championships up in Charleston, West Virginia a couple of weeks ago. That was on a river. Here in Naples, you're on a lake. How does that change things versus what we saw with the national championships now for the world championships?
Well, a lot of times flat water is flat water. It's quite a bit different than racing on the ocean. But with rivers, you'll sometimes have currents. And so the current can sometimes play a part in the race. Here you have no current, but you do have very warm water, hot temperatures, high humidity here in Naples, Florida.
And Ducat has elected to take the inside split this time. So let's have a look and see if he can gain on our leader.
Well, Ducat working that inside split. Dykowski on the 8 machine coming off the outside split. Looks like that gap going to remain about constant as Eric Francis on the 37 machine down the front straightaway.
And right now, a pretty sizable gap between those three as Eric Francis comfortably in third and trying to get to the podium. Still a long ways to go. Eric the Eagle Francis has been racing for 16 years. A 4-time world champion, 7 national titles for Eric Francis.
You know what's interesting, too, Dave, is that Jeff Dykowski out of Rydell, Georgia, is 58 years old. And so even though Eric Francis has been racing for 16 years, he's just 30. So there's quite a big age gap here between first place and second and third place as well.
In fact, Dykowski has 2 children that are that age. He's got a 34-year-old and a 30-year-old, also has a 19-year-old child. Jamie, Missy, and Brianna, the names of his children. He and his wife, Cheryl.
Well, interestingly enough, I was talking to Tim Ducat earlier, and I'd seen him at a couple of rounds earlier in the year, and 2 different rounds this year, he has bitten his tongue and had to have stitches and cut his chin open. So jokingly, I said to him, hey, buddy, keep your tongue in your mouth. Don't bite today.
And Mike, you are a 13-year veteran of this sport. Larry, a 4-time world champion. Are injuries like that part of the sport? Is that something to be expected?
Absolutely. In fact, the older you get, it seems like the more injuries that come, and certainly the longer to recover from each one.
Well, Dykowski is certainly a tough customer, was raised on a farm, worked about 70 hours per week, calls himself a workaholic, tries to get out and practice on his boat for at least 7 to 10 hours per week.
I got to believe that off that last split section, Eric Francis closed the gap, and he's now all over Ducat as they work their way through the right side.
Eric Francis has indeed gained, and right now the gap between third and fourth has also closed a little bit as well.
Looks like Brent Venderly on the 4:04 machine closing that gap as he's back there in fourth and now sets his eyes on that third position.
Brett, 44 years old. It's just his 4th year in watercraft racing, but he's a 20-year veteran of the motocross circuit.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of that, Dave, as a lot of these guys are ex-motocrossers. You know, maybe took a bad spill, this, that, and whatever, and decided, you know, I'm going to try my hands at watercross. And a lot of us came from the motocross world.
In fact, he says he moved to Florida after retiring from motocross. Bought a personal watercraft, thought it was just going to be for fun, and it gave him the bug to start racing again.
We have just passed the halfway point, and you got to wonder now about conditioning, training. 58 years old versus 30 years old, is that going to be a factor?
Well, you know, Larry, you know as well as I do that conditioning does play a factor. You get to that halfway point, or the courtesy flags as they're called, and fatigue starts to set in, and Dykowski's already run 3 or 4 races in the amateur series this week. The guy's an Ironman.
Right now, let's get it down to the 4th member of our broadcast crew, Mackenzie Thurkill, down on the beach. Mackenzie?
Thanks, guys. Now, in this race, it purely comes down to rider ability. All the watercrafts that these guys are on are straight out of the box with 0 modifications, which means you at home can just as easily go out to your local Sea-Doo dealership and go out on one of these bad boys in the water, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Mackenzie. And that is one of the great attractions to this sport, is that you can feel like you can just go out and do it. Now, going out and buying the personal watercraft, getting it out of the water is one thing. Racing it at the level these guys are doing it at is a whole nother animal.
Well, you know, it's very good for the manufacturers, whether you're on a Yamaha, Sea-Doo, you know, those makes Kawasaki. It's good for the manufacturers to be able to know that people can go to the dealer, purchase a machine, and there is a place that if you have the inclination you want to race, there's a spot to do it, and we're doing it right here in Naples, Florida.
And a little bit later, we will see the GP class, and that means you can modify it any way that you want, and that changes things entirely.
That is a whole different animal. That is essentially the unlimited class, and you'll see runabouts out there well in excess of 400 horsepower. It's a whole different animal.
And you see Dykowski, who had the pole position, got the whole shot, and continues to lead right now over Tim Ducat, riding in second pretty much the entire way, followed by Eric Francis, and trying to make his way to the podium. Brett Venderley is still hanging in, but some ground to be gained if he's going to get to the podium.
Well, yesterday we watched these riders qualify as they reach for that qualifying position to try to find their spot online. Now, what's exciting about this style of racing is that this is the main event. It's not moto style. We're not adding motos together to get an overall winner. This race is it.
And we've got less than 2 minutes remaining before they'll take out the white flag to indicate that it will be the final lap. They go for 10 minutes and then go to a final lap after that. So it is a little bit of an endurance race and a little bit of a mental game that you have to play as well.
Very much so. Like Mike was saying, you know, these guys, a lot of them have ridden other races earlier in the week. They've run qualifiers yesterday, but it all comes down to today. So you've got that added mental pressure to go along with everything else.
Dykowski, still your leader on the number 8 machine out of Rydell, Georgia, as he works his way through the right chicane. Tim Ducat trying to close that gap on the 149, and then Eric Francis on the 37 machine. Now, interestingly enough, we're looking at a Yamaha, a Kawasaki, and a Sea-Doo, so 3 of the major manufacturers being represented in the top 3 here, Dave.
Yeah, all of them happy to be getting on the podium, but all of them hoping to see them get their guy atop the podium. As we close in under a minute to go, and it will be soon that white flag comes out to indicate the final lap to crown the world champion here in Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock.
So we look at the front of the pack moving up on the back of the pack. Now Dykowski still hard charging off that outside split with Ducat following, but look at Eric Francis off the inside. Going to give Ducat a run for his money. Ducat with enough momentum on that 149 machine to hold off Eric Francis.
Second straight lap in which Francis has taken that inside split to try and gain some ground, but Ducat continues to hold him off.
Well, you got to talk about forearm pump, because when you go to run that inside split, the turns are a little bit tighter, the water gets a little bit rougher that is, and the washboard effect starts to play a factor, so that gives that forearm pump. These guys are getting tired.
This is about the part of the race where you're starting to really look for that white flag.
Yeah, that white flag really starts to look good as fatigue sets in. You've run lap after lap after lap. Now you'll see the blue and yellow flag out. That means that you are a lapped rider. You're about to go down to the front of the pack. White flag out now. Just 1 lap to go for Jeff Dykowski, and he can pick himself up a win here in Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock and a world championship.
Dykowski looks to be in control. Ducat firmly in second. Francis right now firmly in third as we hit our final lap here on Lake Avalon. Pro-Am Runabout Box Stock World Championship race. Dykowski looking to add to his already impressive list of credentials, as this would be a 3rd world title for him in his racing career.
Now, we had a rider go down. Anthony Radetich on the 153 machine spilled over on the right side. Our front of the pack had to negotiate their way around that rider and his machine that was in the way back to the front of the pack as they come off the left side. This will be to take the checkered flag. It is Dykowski out in front on the outside split, followed by Ducat, and here comes Francis off the inside.
And there it is, Dykowski crossing first, followed by Ducat in second, and Francis finishing on the podium in third. We will hear from your champion, Jeff Dykowski, after this timeout here on CBS Sports Network.
I hate my job some days.
Get out here and just come out and play with your drone a little bit.
I want to get a better one where I can see.
Uh-huh.
You know, I can see what's really going on.
Hey, remember young Quentin and Dylan Langford from Midwest Watercross?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on, man?
Time. Been a long time. Oh, yeah.
I mean, interrupted there. Same shit, but different, right?
Yeah, except, you know, they probably got the wrong guys.
Need a green shirt magic company, right?
Listening to Roy.
Heard old Scott? Too bad, huh? Right?
Yeah. He's all right, though. I think he was Woodward a race up in West Indiana.
Cool. Everything's still moving along up that way?
Oh, yeah.
You still up that way?
I'm up in Orlando now.
Orlando? Oh, yeah. I'm 20 minutes away from
Hey, Baldwin,
15 years ago.
can you take the boat over to Sept?
Yeah.
They're going to want to see you anyway.
This ain't what it is anymore. Mostly
Corners.
foreigners. What's up with that?
That race just fucked every American over.
There's no regional racing anymore?
I do a couple regional races.
Like to qualify for here and whatnot?
Yeah, I do like St. Pete, and I do Tavares, and I do Macon, Georgia still.
Cool, man. Huh.
Yeah, we still have fun.
Remember old Skippy and all them guys up there?
Oh, yeah.
Those were good times back then.
Yeah, guess what I ran into?
I know. Me too.
Oh, you're shitting me. That was cool, dude. Oh, you got green? Little guy.
Blue eyes are
That's funny.
You had to change a bit, man.
Sure. The good old days.
Right.
Good talking to you.
World champion.
Two. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're going to have a jet lift, shirt cannon, shoot off in about 5 minutes. A jet lift, shirt cannon, shoot off in about 5 minutes. So, want to get a nice shirt? Get ready for that.
I'm here with
jet
Jeff,
lift, shirt
aka
cannon.
Jaws. Now you were leading majority of the race. At what point did you know that you were in the lead and that you were going to win this?
After 5 seconds.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What's going through your head though that last 2 minutes or so?
The last 2 minutes, pray for patience. Oh, Lord, give me patience, and damn it, hurry up.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff, and congratulations on your win.
I just wanted to thank Dean's team. Dean and I went and did a tune last night, and it made a lot of difference today. A lot.
All right. Well,
Cool. Thank you so much.
congratulations again, and guys, back to you.
Pray for patience, and Lord, hurry up. That's the line of the day so far here in Naples. One champion has been crowned. More to come here on CBS Sports Network.
With that, I don't think that they're doing a B-wake today.
Attention to the pits, attention to the pits. We need Drake and Brian O'Rourke. Drake and Brian O'Rourke, please report to the announcing tower for freestyle judging. Once again, Drake and Brian O'Rourke, please report to the announcing tower for freestyle judging. Thank you. Hey, by the way, if anybody's getting a little bit hungry out there, I know it's lunchtime break. We've got some Squatch by Jacklegs here at the announcing tower. If you'd like some Squatch, we got Squatch. It's going to be raining Squatch from the tower. There we go. I told
Saying it's the wrong way to leave my heart on this loose frame. There's fears that you can't escape. All my regrets have been replaced. Once you feel it, you'll believe it. Just for tonight, can I love you like it's the last time? Days go by, don't wanna lose you like I did my mind. Once you feel it, you'll believe it.
Oh, I bet. All right. Who's got a dirty jet ski? Who's got a dirty jet ski? Anybody got a dirty jet ski? How about a dirty wetsuit? You need to wash your wetsuit. Wash your wetsuits. There we go. Yeah, this is called stank away. This is what you wash your wetsuit with this right here, folks. All right. Once again, special thanks to all the racers, families, sponsors. Oh, there we go. Stank away. There you go. This is for your wetsuits, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Now, don't drink it. All right. What do you grommets want? Well, you want some more? You want some more goodies? Okay, we got some Jet Renew. Again, special thanks to all our friends from Jet Renew, the official cleaner here at the Pro Watercross World Championships. Now, this is what we call dry wash right here. Cleans, polishes, protects, and it is environmentally friendly. Hold on a second. I got more. I have got more, ladies and gentlemen. We have got tons of Jet Renew to give away up here. Over here in the stands. Did you want some right here, sir? There you go. There we go. Jet Renew from the Tower of Power. Oh, you guys want some more stuff, huh? Yeah. Okay, now hold on. We're going to drop it right over there. There we go. Jet Renew, ladies and gentlemen. It's a clean, polish your ski, your bike, your boat. And I've got about one more of these to give away, ladies and gentlemen, before we get our freestylers in here. All right, hold on a second. Whoa, way back there. There we go. Oh, there we go. All right, all right, all right. We're just about ready to go with freestyle. We'll bring our riders back in here. I had a bunch of pins up here. There we go. There's another
Ben. Back.
They just want me to let them know when he comes back up here. Okay. But when this starts, he's coming up, right? Yeah. This just ended?
No, that.
Okay.
They come in, three judges, different scores. Okay.
Okay.
And then I think what they wanted to do first today, though, two amateurs from yesterday, because I just sent them out in front of the show for everybody. It was actually a competition.
Okay.
Okay. So are we good to go on that right now, the show part?
Yeah. All right, Ray, are you guys ready? He's not, I don't think he's coming back up here, but I asked Mike and he said that they're going to send.
Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, a little FYI for everybody out there. We had a couple of, we had some great amateur competition earlier this week. Evan Krefsky and Justin Sylvain, both from Lake Orion, Michigan, did very well. And since we only have two professional freestylers here today, we thought it'd be good if those two top amateur freestylers went out and put a show on for everybody. So you guys ready for a little freestyle show before we get started with the competition? I said, do we have any freestyle fans out there? Come on, make some noise! All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw out Evan Krefsky and Justin
moto
Sylvain.
yesterday, the qualifying moto, and Langlace was victorious in the moto yesterday, so he has the right to be the second participant here today, and that kind of puts the pressure on Gary Burtka to see what he can do and impress the judges on his first run.
Well, exactly. That's how it's going off this weekend. Now, the freestylers elected to go with a moto format. So just like you said, Dave, yesterday's winner in moto number one was Chris Langlaise, which means the pressure's on Gary Burtka from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, as he'll have to go first.
And explain the format, if you will, please, Mike.
Well, the format is basically this. This boils down to a different style of riding. They are going to be rated by three different judges on the number of tricks that they do in the 2-minute routine, the degree of difficulty in the tricks that they do in that 2-minute routine, and then something called amplitude, which is that unknown factor, that showmanship piece that allows someone to really put on a good show.
And yesterday, the amateur was crowned here in Naples. And the amateurs in this sport are some up-and-comers as well.
Well, actually, what we're watching right now is yesterday's amateur winners. They've been allowed to do a quick freestyle routine before we go into the pros. So you have Justin Sylvain on the blue and yellow machine and Evan Krefsky on the green machine. They went 1-2 in the World Championships yesterday in freestyle, and they're going to show us what they're about before we move into the pro event.
And based on what I saw yesterday, I'd say that was probably their last competition as an amateur.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go pro. Big flat water 360 there, rotation out of Justin Sylvain, Evan Krefsky on the green machine. Now you'll see when they kick their feet in like that they are looking to pull off something big. These guys wear baseball or football cleats when they ride these machines because they absolutely cannot come unhooked as they go inverted.
And you see him kind of doing it in tandem, and you saw Evan a minute ago trying to get the crowd, and both of them now trying to get a little bit of noise out of the crowd here at Lake Avalon and Sugden National Park.
Well, they pulled 360 flat roll, so they rotate that machine 360 degrees on a flat horizontal plane as they spin it around, and then they went directly into backflips. Big 540 rotation with a backflip out of Krefsky, 1 flip, 2 flips, 3 flips. Justin Sylvain down there on that blue machine, he was crowned the world champion of amateurs here at the Hidden Trails Pro Watercross World Championships in Naples, Florida.
Justin comes off, Evan stays on, and now they regroup as they put on a show for the spectators here in Naples.
Big one-footer as they go with a backflip there. Evan Kresge. Now, these guys, when they throw their arms up in the air like that, they are signaling to the crowd that they want to hear it. The louder the crowd gets, the crazier these guys get. Not quite playing with a full deck as most freestylers. That's the game.
Yeah, I always think about that when I see this. The first time you've ever tried this move, what's got to be going through your mind? The adrenaline rush that must be pulsing through your body.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, you see this and you see these guys execute these moves and they make it look so easy, but all the times in practice that it doesn't come out so easy and they still get back on the boat anyway.
That's right. You'll see a lot of times in practice they wear helmets because you just never know. They're trying new things all the time, like you said, Mike, and they feed off that noise, that adrenaline rush from the crowd watching them, and the louder they cheer, the bigger they go.
Well, Evan Kresge was going big there with some big flat rotations, some underflips, some backflips. You also saw them do one-hander landers where they'll pull a flip and they'll land it with just one hand on the bars. Big off-axis rotation right there by Evan Kresge. Both those guys down from Lake Orion, Michigan.
And Evan comes off. Justin maybe looking for one last big move, and how about that? Gets a little hand off of the controls and able to stick the landing.
Yeah, he was going for a 540 right there, so it's a 540-degree flat spin, so they try to keep the machine horizontal if they can. Now Justin Sylvain going to go with backflips. That's 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. The kid is just absolutely a specimen of an athlete. I mean, he's buff, he's young, he's fit. What's he at, 10 or 11 now?
That's
still
11
going
right
with the
now,
backflip.
12.
He's going to backflip his way right onto his trailer.
Well, we heard the air horn sound, which lets them know that their portion of the freestyle routine is over. Is he still going? He must be at 16, 17 by now.
I don't think he cared. Enjoying the moment for as long as he could, milking every moment of it. And you see some of the iPhones out capturing the video. And what a performance. Give it up for these young men putting on a show here at Lake Avalon. And congratulations to both of them. A fantastic finish this weekend in the amateur division. And as you guys say, probably the last time we'll ever see them as amateurs.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go pro. I mean, Justin Sylvain, Evan Kresge, the up-and-comers, 1-2 in the amateur freestyle this weekend, and bring it in. They will be pros on the tour next year.
And they will get their boats out of the water, and that will open things up now for the pro competition as we will hand out a world championship in pro freestyle. And as we mentioned, it will be Gary Burtka going first out of Rolling Meadows, Illinois, and Chris Langley out of Clearwater, Florida. And, you know, guys, any advantage to the people that live in the warm weather states? I mean, we just saw both amateurs. They're not from Florida, and they seem to be doing quite well.
I would say there's a definite advantage to being in the warm weather states, but you know, these guys obviously have a great deal of heart to get out there in the wintertime where they're living and practice in the off-season.
So Burtka, as soon as he does his first trick, that will begin the 2-minute clock.
Well, we do have flat water freestyle here today, which means if these guys live on flat water and practice on flat water, it's an advantage to them to be in this event on flat water versus a rider that maybe is on the ocean and gets big waves to work with on a daily basis as they practice. So the crowd looking to expect something bigger as he cuts back across his own way. Gary Burtka going to start it off with a big flip. Now, he didn't quite get full rotation there as he stabbed the nose into the water and actually hit bottom.
Able to stay on his machine, however.
Little rotation there with a hop skip around.
And what are the judges looking for here as they grade these performances?
Again, the judges are looking for number of tricks done in 2 minutes. Then also the degree of difficulty as Gary Burtka pulls a no-hander lander. That's a tough one to do a backflip and land it with only one hand on the bars. And then, of course, amplitude. That thing, that showmanship factor, looks like a big aerial barrel roll there off axis. Gary Burka wants to hear it. He's looking to the crowd for some noise, for some applause. If you like what you see, folks, go ahead and let him know. Now, I see that Gary Burka worked his way out into some deeper water as he's looking to go back across his own wake. 180 nose stab into some spins, some corkscrews there. Around and around he goes.
Inside of just a minute remaining. When you hear the air horn goes off, that'll let Gary know he's only got 15 seconds. And so if he's saving anything for a big finish, that'll be his signal to go into that final move.
That's what you want to do, too. That final 15 seconds, if you got something big, that's when you want to do it. That's when the judges really, it sticks in their mind when they go to put those scores out.
Well, Gary Burka with another backflip there. Now, because it's flat water, these guys have to create their own waves to work with. So you'll see them make kind of a little S-style style turn so they can create a wave to work back with. 180 nose stab there out of Gary Burka. Just 15 seconds to go for his routine. So he's looking for that last big trick, something to set in the minds of the judges that will give him that advantage.
And trying to put some pressure on Chris Langlace.
Better find that wave. Burka going to run out of time. Now, that's a great no-hander lander that he'll finish his routine with. However, that trick does not count as he ran out of time before pulling that one off, Dave.
So Gary taking a little bit too much time to get that final move off. We'll see whether or not that costs him in the scoring. And Gary signaling to the crowd. They give him a nice ovation for his performance as Gary tries to put the pressure on Chris Langlace, who will try to become the 2016 Pro Freestyle Champion. A solid performance out of Gary. Stuck that one-handed flip landing, as you talked about, and the degree of difficulty of that just off the charts.
Well, and the judges' scores came in. Looks like Gary Burka out of Rolling Meadows, Illinois, going to pick up a 27 with his first score. Now, there's 3 judges, so that basically means that those 3 judges each gave him a 9 out of a 10-point scale. That could be 9.5, 9.2, however the judges decipher it should come undone. They each gave him a 9. Those are quality scores. Chris Langlace, yesterday's winner of Moto 1, now has his work cut out for him where he's got to beat 27.
And as soon as his first trick is performed, that's when the clock will start, excuse me. Chris Langlace, his 3rd year in freestyle. Says he practices over 20 hours per week.
Now, I got a chance to talk to Langlois yesterday, Chris Langlois and his wife and kids. They were hanging out in the pits, and they were having a great time here to support their husband and father.
His wife, Shelly, son, Tyler, daughter, Abby.
So Langlois looking to create that wave as he works his way back across. His first trick going to be a big backflip with a second. So a combo, if the riders can put together combinations, that definitely sets in the minds with the judges more so than singular tricks.
I was talking to some of the freestylers in the pits earlier, and these are highly, highly modified machines. In fact, there's very few OEM parts on these things. They're aftermarket carbon fiber hulls, up to 1,300 cc motors. The power to weight ratio is insane.
And how about the athleticism right there by Langlace? Nearly comes off, but able to hold himself on.
Well, he did a couple of off-axis spins, and then he converted it into a backflip. So he really did 4 tricks right in a row. Big off-axis spin there, to the left, to the right, and then a big, big backflip. Another off-axis. 4 or 5 tricks right in a row there. So Langlace really going after the judges and the ability to get as many tricks in as he can in his 2-minute routine.
Langlace, a 2-time national champion at the amateur level, says he got started in freestyle because he saw it on TV and knew right away it was something he wanted to do, and boy, does he ever do it well. This has been an impressive performance out of Langlace here in Naples.
Again, off-axis spin. He put together a 360 spin. Then he went with a backflip and another backflip. Now, you'll see Langlace, he's digging in. You'll see him stomp his feet in to those footholds. They actually have footholds in the machine so the riders can stay on when they go inverted and go upside down. Big off-axis there. Now, that's one trick, but you'll see he went for amplitude, and that has everything to do with how you dress the trick up and how high you get off this flat water.
Going to be hearing that horn very soon to mark the 15 seconds, and there it is. And Langley's not wasting the time. Look at that as he puts the foot off of the machine on the flips. That is amazing. And then he comes off of his boat, able to hold on to it, however, addresses the crowd, and that will finish out the performance by Langley's, who won the moto yesterday and impresses the crowd here in Naples today.
Now, Langley's probably could have timed that any better. He went with 4 complete one-footed backflips before he came off the machine and really ran out of tricks right about the same time as his 2 minutes came to closure.
Langley's, who on our bio sheet that we give him says, interesting fact about yourself, says started young in the circus. Not exactly sure what the context on that is, but he had Circus Association and performer on the water. And he is your champion as the scores have come in. Congratulations to Chris Langley, former 2-time national champion at the amateur level and now a world champion in pro freestyle here in Naples, Florida.
Yeah, Langley's going to pick up a score of 28.6. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for your new Pro Freestyle World Champion here at the Pro Watercross World Championships in Naples, Florida.
Good job, you guys. Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Once again, folks, nice round of applause for Chris Langley and Gary Burtka, first and second in the world in pro freestyle. Again, folks, while we have the opportunity, I'd like to say a very special thanks to Hidden Trails, Sea-Doo, Jet Lift, Shark Energy, Jet Trim, Solus, HydroTurf, Jet Renew, Watcon, Bomber Eyewear, and Squatch by Jack Links. All proud sponsors here of the Pro Watercross World Championships.
I was hitting talkback. I don't know why talkback's not working.
We need all officials back to your official positions. Once again, all officials, please report back to your official positions, and we need the Sport GP class. Race number 5, please report to the starting line. Once again, Sport GP class, race number 5, please report to the starting line, and all officials back to your official positions. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, while we have the opportunity, I'd like to remind everybody we got some great vendors down there in Performance Alley. Stop down there, pick up yourself a Shark Energy drink. Then stop on over. They've got 2-for-1 deal for polarized sunglasses from APBA. Two sets of glasses only going to cost you $30. Buy yourself a pair. Take your sweetie back a pair at home. And then we also got our Pro Watercross merchandise booth. Got T-shirts, sweatshirts. We've got the DVDs. We've got all kinds of goodies. And that is located just to the right-hand side of camera tower number 1. Again, we need our sport class to the line, and all officials, please report back to your official positions. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are here with us live, we have 3 more races to go. The Sport GP, that'll be followed by the ProAm Ski GP and the ProAm GP. Final 3 races of the 2016 racing season.
Question for you. Would you jump on a machine that takes you 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds? A machine that kicks out over 180 horses. Yes.
Yeah, so 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds. This should be a whole lot of fun.
See if experience or those young guys will take home that world championship today.
We are off and away.
Watercraft, they can reach speeds of 85 to 90 miles per hour. These are the fastest watercraft on the entire series.
Accelerate from 0 to 60 or 65 miles an hour in 2.2, 2.3 seconds.
Got your attention now? Well, so will these guys. This is Pro Watercross, and it's next on CBS.
left to right in front of us. He's going to have company on the outside. Here comes 502, Brian Baldwin. Baldwin had the drive.
Watercross is the only sport where you've got guys that are out there racing machines that have got 400, 500 horsepower, and you know, we're the only guys out there that don't have brakes.
Welcome back to Florida's gorgeous Paradise Coast, the Broward Motorsports Pro Watercross World Championship.
The massive lake is the centerpiece, a watercross dream destination. Lake Hartwell is the well-planned result of the Hartwell Dam, an engineering masterpiece built back in 1957. Come with us to the Swamp Guinea. Fresh fish, red-hot music, and ice-cold beer make for the perfect ending to a day of racing.
You know, Charleston, West Virginia is sweet. It's probably one of the coolest little places to go.
It's really cool to be in a city atmosphere. We're here in a city park and basically a festival for the community to come down.
The Mac attack is what we call him. You can certainly see why. Look at this attack position that he's got.
Pulled a good lead and managed to win.
Again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, that is just about a wrap from Naples, Florida, but don't forget you can get plenty more on Pro Watercross at the official website of the sport, prowatercross.com. We enjoyed being here in Naples, Florida. For Carly Applin, Don Dawson, and Mike Young, as well as our entire crew, I'm Dave Benz saying so long. Thanks for watching Pro Watercross here on CBS Sports Network.
Your mechanic to impound. Once again, top 3 riders from ProAm Ski Stock. Please bring your toolbox and your mechanic to impound. Thank you. And your ski, yeah. Bring something to work on. All right, once again, we need all officials back in position. Just getting set to go here, ladies and gentlemen, with our Sport GP class. And it looks like most of our riders have worked their way down to the starting line. Had a qualifier yesterday. Rich Taylor, boat number 111, was your winner in qualifying yesterday, and he'll be sitting on the inside pole. And it looks like Sam Nemi, who took second in yesterday's qualifier, will be on the outside pole. Sam coming through in second in the sports stock class a little bit earlier this week, folks. Once again, we need all officials back to your official positions as we are just about set to go here with our Sport GP class.
Thanks. Those actually came out awful.
Did they?
Yeah. They're really dark.
I'm going to have Rick see if he can get something on my phone as well. There we go.
All right, folks, it'll be just a moment here before we get started with the Sport GP. Hope everybody's having a pleasant Sunday afternoon here at Sugden Regional Park. And I'd like to say a very special thanks to Mike and all the officials here at Sugden Park for making our stay a very pleasant one.
Yeah, actually, that's not a bad. Well, if you put it on. Hey, Caitlin, can you do one? Caitlin.
Once again, just as a reminder, top 3 from ProAm Ski Stock. Take your ski, your toolbox, and your mechanic, and please report to impound. Thank you. We will be tearing some boats down today.
Yeah, it went. I don't know if it helped.
All right, folks, you're getting ready to watch Sport GP class. One of the cool things about this class is it's one of the cheapest classes to get into racing. All these boats that you see down there online haven't been manufactured since 1996. So these boats all at least 20 years old, and you'll see from Sea-Doo the HX model and from Yamaha the Wave Blaster model. I'm just about ready to turn it back over to my partners with the CBS broadcast, and I'll be back after this one.
So this is our biggest field by far. And the racers have started their engines for the Sport GP class. 13 racers to decide the World Championship in this class, Sport GP. And Sport GP basically meaning it's a smaller size watercraft, but modified however you want to modify it. And coming off of that pole position was Richard Taylor, but coming for the hole shot right now, Billy Dearman looking to try and claim the jet lift hole shot. However, the red flags have come out, and we are going to have a restart here in Naples.
Interestingly enough, Sam Nemi had pulled the hole shot on that one.
So they will get everyone lined back up, and we will restart here in just a moment. You mentioned Sam Nemi a second ago, the national champ a couple of weeks ago in West Virginia, looking to add a world championship to his title.
Technically, once the that's the official hole shot mark. Yeah. The two checkered buoys would be the actual
as they blend.
So the Sport GP watercraft have been started. We are just about ready for the flag to drop and get these racers underway. And now
looks like somebody on the line has got a problem. We've got a 2-minute hold.
And now the watercraft have been started. And 13 racers to try and decide the Sport GP World Championship here in Naples. And 12 of them going off in a hold for Keith Dill. And as they make their way around the first couple of buoys and go into the split, we will see who comes out of there with the jet lift hole shot.
Looks like Sam Nemi off the outside split section pulling that hole shot. Then the 1-1-1 W of Billy Dearman off the inside. Billy Dearman down the front straightaway.
So Billy Dearman comes out of there after taking that inside split. Billy Dearman, who finished 8th in the moto to set up this race, the qualifying, if you will, that took place yesterday.
Well, Billy Dearman on that 111 machine, he's always fast. He's always been fast. He changed the machine, so he had to go to a different spot on the line. He has pulled the jet lift hole shot as he came down that front straightaway. Now, the real story is back there in second place. We look at 13, Sam Nemi, and then 111W, or R, that is, Richard Taylor. Richard Taylor was the Moto 1 winner, but again, that was just a qualifier. So as they come off the split sections, Nemi going to run to the inside split, Billy Dearman to the outside split, as Nemi was already our National Tour champion as he ran the entire National Tour. Billy Dearman still out in front, Larry.
And Nemi was very impressive yesterday. You know, you had some problems, didn't finish up where he wanted, but I think this is going to be a great race. Watch as the race develops. I think you're going to see some action.
Yeah, you talk about Dearman and Nemi, both well decorated over their lengthy careers. Dearman's been racing for 23 years. Nemi began racing at 1985. Gave it up for a while between 1999 and 2013, and then got back into it in 2013. But both of them have won multiple national and world titles.
Well, again, with the qualifier format the way that it is, a lot of these racers are used to motos where they take Moto 1, Moto 2, average them together. That is not the way it is here at the World Championships here in Naples, Florida. Yesterday's race was a qualifier. We've got a rider down over here on the left side chicane. Dearman able to go by him without hitting that rider unscathed. Sam Nemi all over him on the left side. Yellow flags out. Once again, Billy Dearman on the 111 machine pulling that jet lift hole shot award on that first lap.
Yeah. Let's take a look back at the hole shot. And Larry, tell me what you see here.
It looks like Dearman with a great jump off the line. Huge advantage going in. Nemi, though, with a really fast watercraft. Could have been anybody's bet coming out, but Dearman earned the award.
Back to live action, and there you continue to see the pace being set by Billy Dearman. And Billy out of Madison, Mississippi.
Well, unlike yesterday's qualifier, we had this water really get rough because we had the 13 machines spread out around the machine. We had riders falling down. Dearman comes off his machine on the left side. That's going to allow Sam Nemi to take over the lead on the 13 machine.
A similar spot to where we saw Devin Walker come off of his machine moments ago in this race.
That's going to put Richard Taylor back there into that second position. Now back onto the course, Billy Dearman back out in front.
Take a look at what happened here.
We look at the replay, and as Dearman was working his way off that outside split section, he went around the red, picked up the green and red buoy, and these machines ride high in the sky. He spun out a little bit, working his way around that red, and this is where it happens. Sam Nemi moves to the front of the pack.
So Sam Nemi, 43 years old. He's still a young pup compared to Jeff Dykowski, who won a world championship earlier here today in Naples.
Front of the pack moving up on the back of the pack, Dave, as we look at Sam Nemi on the 13 machine coming off the left side of the course. There's a rider down there. That's going to allow him to get a little bit of a jump on Richard Taylor. Richard Taylor out of Christmas, Florida, currently holding on to that second position on 111R.
One more time, let's take a look at that replay.
So as we look at the replay, Billy Dearman on the 111 machine, he got high-sided off of the yellow buoy, that outside bit, and he went into the water, was able to hold on to his machine, but it cost him the lead.
One of the aspects about the Sport GP class, too, these watercraft are much harder to remount once you're in deep water, so that took up a lot of time.
And there's a look at your leader, Sam Nemi, as they go 10 minutes before the white flag comes out, and then that would indicate the final lap here on Lake Avalon.
Nemi able to put some lapped riders between himself and Richard Taylor. So as they work their way off the right side, another lapper almost gets in the way of Nemi. They nearly made contact. Nemi came out of it unscathed.
Nemi getting out to that outside split. Nemi, who considers Naples, Florida, his favorite race location.
So you got the blue and yellow flag out there. And again, that blue and yellow flag means that that you are a lap down. As some folks say, there's a race going on and you're not in it.
And then you saw the crossed flags there that were rolled up. That indicates to the racers that they have reached the midway point. 5 minutes have elapsed out of the 10 minutes of this race.
Now, interestingly enough, we saw Keith Dill, who finished third in the qualifier yesterday. He's on the number 14 machine. He had to start with his hand on his head. So if we went back to the start, you would see that he was penalized and had to start with his hand on his head and the machine not running because he had jumped under the band in the previous start.
Sam Nemi continuing to set the pace here in Sport GP. And Larry, tell the folks at home kind of what the difference is between the Sport GP as far as the sit-down watercraft and then the other runabout class that we see.
These would be more of like a mid-sized watercraft. You have the stand-up watercraft, which are much smaller, and then you have the full-size runabout that are often designed for 2 to 3 passengers. These are in between. Originally designed for 1 passenger, they're kind of a cross between a stand-up watercraft and a runabout.
And the GP means they can make whatever modifications they would like. And Sam Nemi, who's setting the pace, knows all about making modifications, as he owns 5 Broward Motorsports dealerships. And it's a family affair, the racing. Earlier today, his 11-year-old son, Sammy, was competing here in Naples.
Yes, Sammy Nemi was running in the 10, 11, and 12-year-old junior ski division. Sammy pulled the whole shot in that race, nearly won it, was passed with just the last 10 feet to go by Hayden Skellett. So Hayden was crowned the world champion. Sammy Nemi, Sam's son, second in the world.
Sam trains in the gym every single day, trains on his ski every Sunday. So this is just a normal day at the office for him, being on the water on a Sunday afternoon.
Now back to the racing action. You look at Billy Dearman on the 111 machine. He's actually ahead of Richard Taylor now. So Dearman, who had come off his machine earlier but held on to it, gets back on the machine and fights his way into second position.
And Taylor holding on to third right now, trying to finish on the podium. It'll be interesting to see how that finishes out. Now let's get down to the 4th member of our broadcast crew, Mackenzie Thurkill on the beach. Mackenzie?
Yeah, earlier in the broadcast, we talked about forearm pump, and what happens is when these guys are out on this track, they actually get numb in their forearms trying to handle these watercrafts. So what happens is, like, it all depends on the, sorry. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Mackenzie. You talk so much about all the things that go into making someone successful in pro watercross. Being physically fit and being able to handle the machine is such a big part of it.
Especially in the GP class. This is essentially an unlimited class, a lot of modifications, big motors, a lot of horsepower, a lot of G-forces in the turn. The training, the conditioning that goes in ahead of time, and then the strategy during the race to pace yourself. You can't go all out.
And it also takes a team effort, a true team effort. When you're talking about the modifications, you have to have a great crew behind you to be able to modify your boat in a way that it can perform at such a high level.
Yeah, you really do. A lot of these racers have top-notch mechanics. For instance, we talked about Sammy Nemi owning 5 Broward Motorsports locations. It does help to have that kind of background, but having some good mechanics, having some good holders, and obviously family and friends that support you.
And you see Sam Nemi continuing to lead as we get awfully close to that white flag coming out, which would indicate the final lap here in Sport GP. And Sam Nemi, what a month it would be for him, fellas. He was able to be successful in West Virginia and winning the national championship, and now looking to add the world championship in the same year to his title.
Well, the front of the pack moving up on the back of the pack as we talk about Sam Nemi. He is the front. Sam Nemi is a great rider, whether it's in the big waves in the ocean or it's the flat water like we have here at Sugden Park here in Naples, Florida this weekend. A lot of lap traffic in the way right now. Nemi is really an elusive rider. He's able to get by those lappers, maybe much more so fast than the other riders that are in this event. Richard Taylor and Billy Dearman back there on the 111 machines, both W and R. Dearman running second, Richard Taylor running third. Nemi going by those lapped riders. very, very fast.
He did make it look good. He got right through them and made it look effortless.
And he's about to see a white flag here as he comes by the start-finish line, which would indicate the final lap here on Lake Avalon. And barring something completely unexpected, Sam Nemi is going to be your 2016 world champion. He's got to get all the way around the course, however, and has to run one final clean lap without being caught. The being caught probably not going to be a problem as long as he runs the lap clean.
I tell you, seeing that white flag is a great feeling, but at the same time, you're on that final lap, you're just praying that everything stays together and you don't have a mechanical before the end.
Well, the nice thing, too, is there are 3 lapped riders in between Sam Nemi and the second-place rider, Billy Dearman. So it's going to be tough for Dearman to get by those 3 lapped riders. They're in his way.
And Billy Dearman, if he's able to hold on to second, has to be at least some sign of redemption for him after coming off of his boat early in the race with the lead. No doubt he'll be frustrated about what could have been, but to finish on the podium after coming off is a pretty good showing.
Yeah, Dearman, you know, he held onto his machine. A lot of times when these riders come off, they'll come completely disengaged from the machine. Dearman was able to hold off. Last lap down here as they come off the front straightaway.
And here comes Nemi, and he crosses the finish line, gets the checkered flag. Sam Nemi, your 2016 Sport GP World Champion here in Naples, Florida. Dearman comes across second. He will finish on the podium. And we will be back to hear from Sam Nemi after this timeout.
ProAm Ski GP, we need you to the starting line. Once again, ProAm Ski GP, we need you to the starting line. Thank you.
Gotcha.
Hey, by the way, I would like to say a very special thanks to the Chicken Salad Chick who took care of all of our VIPs this weekend. Who out there wants a free koozie from Chicken Salad Chick? Free koozies from the announcing tower. You guys want some koozies down here? No? Yeah? Some koozies? 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 Anybody? Over here? Over there? Drop it like it's hot. There we go, it's raining Chicken Salad Chick koozies. Free koozies from the Tower of Power. Special thanks to our good friends from Hidden Trails Sea-Doo, our title sponsor here at the Pro Watercross World Championships. This weekend, we are presented by the Jet Lift. If you'd like to check out the newest, the latest, and the greatest from Jet Lift, they are with us here in Performance Alley today. All right, more goodies to give away. Who wants some Squatch out there? We've got some more free Squatch. Squatch giveaways from the tower. There we go. It's raining Squatch. What's that? Oh, yeah. Who wants some more Squatch out there? Yeah, get you some. Once again, I'd like to say a very special thanks to all of our sponsors, Hidden Trails, Sea-Doo, Jet Lift, Shark Energy, as well as Jet Trim, Solus, HydroTurf, Jet Renew, Watcon, Palmer Eyewear, and of course, my favorite one, Squatch! Oh yeah, hope everybody's having a great Sunday afternoon. This guy's putting up his umbrella.
Are we doing up top again?
Squatch out here. Speaking of rain, I'm hoping we don't get any, but it doesn't look too promising behind us. One more time. How many letters in Squatch? 5, that's right, 5 letters in Squatch. Hey, how we doing, Lewis Malone, Wemble the Texier, and Tony the Tornado, Rich McCluggage? How we doing down there? Good luck in this next one. Once again, folks, coming up next is our Pro-Am Ski GP.
Sam, so you're in second. Passing Billy. What's your thought process as that's happening?
It was real tough. I started off red flag yesterday, hand on my head, so I got really bad pole position. I was really concerned how I was going to come out of that whole mess in the first turn, and luckily I came out in second behind Billy, and I was just trying to ride smart. I knew it was a long race. I wanted to watch him, read his lines, read his riding, and kind of figure out when a good time would be to pass him, and he ended up falling, which made it a little bit easier for me.
All right, well, congratulations. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, thank you very much, Mackenzie. Congratulations once again to Sam Nemi, another world champion still to be crowned. Stay with us here on CBS Sports Network.
All right, once again, Pro Ski GP should be at the starting line. And who out there needs a bottle opener? I've got some anodized billet bottle openers, ladies and gentlemen, courtesy of our good friends from Jetlift. There we go. Again, remember to support those who support the sport. Nobody does it like Brian Shea and all the folks over at Jetlift. Also, don't forget, we've got our Pro Watercross merchandise booth. It is open. We've got T-shirts, DVDs, all kinds of good stuff. And they're located right beside Camera Tower number 1. All right, we got some stank away for your wetsuits. There you go. There's some wash for your wetsuits. Some wash for your wetsuits.
Hey, Ray. Hey, Ray, you don't have the ProAm ski stock, a highlight of Cabrera winning. Yes, he's in this race. Just a thought, you don't have to. Oh, is this the one where they were going to add somebody? Well, can I get a name of who that person is that they're adding? Okay, but I got 6 guys and a girl. I need to know who the 8th person is.
You have Sophie Perry.
Right, but we're talking about the guy that they first. So it's only 7. Okay. They didn't add the other guy. So. Not everybody is on the line. There's a few on the beach.
ProAm Ski GP class has made its way to the line. 7 racers, 6 men and 1 woman trying to decide the World Championship here in Naples, Florida. Ski GP means these are stand-up watercraft which have been modified to maximize their speed and handling. And in the pole position is Chris McCluggage, who was last year's world champion here in Naples, Florida. And as they go around the initial buoys, it is McCluggage who will try and make up some ground, but they're going to be a red flag coming out, and they are going to go for a restart. No.
We just really don't want to call that till they blend. Four is Josh Block. You get called for a dead machine?
And we are ready to go with ProAm Ski GP here in Naples, Florida. Chris McCluggage has the pole position. And McCluggage, a highly decorated racer, 19 world championships, including last year when he won the world championship right here in Naples, Florida on Lake Avalon. And an excellent start out of the pole position for McCluggage to begin this race. And he will look for the hole shot as he comes towards the split. He will take the inside split. And being followed closely by Josh Block, who was quick off the line as well. And McCluggage able to come across with the HydroTurf hole shot.
Now, Dave, I don't know if you noticed that McCluggage pulled that hole shot, and down the front straightaway, he actually did some kind of little kick maneuver, letting you know that he's happy with his machine as he came down that front straightaway on his Monster Energy Mac Racing Broward Motorsports machine. That was an incredible start.
That was indeed. Great jump off the line from McCluggage.
McCluggage, 42 years old, has been racing for 30 years. And let's take another look at the start, fellas. What do you see here?
That was picture perfect off the line from McCluggage. No bouncing, no porpoising on the way to the first turn. Right up into the tray and out in front.
And you see just the way he's able to handle his machine. Coming around those buoys, takes that inside split. And able to race through. And here he comes with the hole shot. And we freeze it before we see it. But he gave that leg kick. And a little salute to the crowd, and we pick up live action, and you see McCluggage continuing now to set the pace here on Lake Avalon.
That 24 machine of Derek Helm out of Liberty Lake, Washington, he's riding on the Commander Hull. He came off that outside split section on the start, and he ran a great split, but McCluggage ran flawless on the inside, and you got to give him props for that kick.
Maybe he was inspired by the Freestyle, which the crowd here in Naples, Florida saw earlier here today.
Well, the thing about Chris McCluggage is he rides hard from the back of the pack. He always works his way very well through traffic, but if you give him a hole shot, you give him clean water out front, he is virtually impossible to catch, as that 24 machine of Derek Helm is following him through the outside split section, trying to close that gap. The 94 machine of Josh Block back there running in third.
Derek Helm out of Lake Liberty, Washington, not nearly as long on the pro watercross circuit as McCluggage. Helm now in his 9th year of racing. They will go for 10 minutes, and then after 10 minutes, the white flag will come out to indicate the final lap to decide the world champion here at the Hidden Trails Sea-Doo 2016 Pro Watercross World Championships.
We've got a little bit of rain here coming down here in Naples, Florida, but that's not going to bother these guys. They're pretty much getting wet as it is, so rain isn't going to hurt them any.
Well, and certainly not to the amount that it's coming now. Last year it was a much bigger factor here in Naples, Florida, when it was a downpour that came. And when you're riding these watercraft at speeds in excess of 80 miles per hour, that can sting a little bit.
It feels like somebody's throwing handfuls of pebbles at you. It does sting.
That 24 machine out there, Derek Helm out of Liberty Lake, Washington, riding for the K1 Commander team. Trying to hold on to that second position, but Josh Block on the 94 machine holding on to third. He's being hounded by 913 Jordan Carroll. Now on the start, Jordan Carroll got pinched at the line, so he didn't get the kind of start that he wanted to, but he's riding very well now, trying to take that third position away from Josh Block.
We also have in this race David Cabrera, not really a factor right now, but he did win the Pro-Am ski stock race earlier today here on Lake Avalon, and also Sophie Perrin in this race as well, one of the few female competitors in the field on this Sunday in Naples. And there's another look at McCluggage continuing to set the pace. He is comfortably out in front. And Larry, as you take a look at that sizable lead, what is your biggest opponent at this point when you've got such a big advantage?
The real trick at this point is your timing. You don't want to go all out. You want to conserve some energy, and so you've got some left. But at the same time, if you take a little too much off, it can throw off your timing, and you find yourself in the water.
Now 913, Jordan Carroll just came off the inside split. He made the pass on Josh Block. So now Jordan Carroll moves into that third position. Josh Block has slipped back to fourth on the number 94 machine.
And that'll be an interesting battle to watch to see who can finish on the podium.
McCluggage still continues to have that fresh water as they go down the back straightaway. He is virtually a half a lap ahead of the rest of the field now as they come off the left side of the course and down the front straightaway.
And it's only a matter of time before he starts to get some lap traffic to be able to put between himself and the rest of the field. McCluggage, we mentioned 19 world titles, 18 national titles to his credit. Asked an interesting fact about himself. He says, "I love my family." And his wife Rachel and his children Mac and Lily, just 4 and 2 years old.
And they call Chris the GOAT, the greatest of all time, 19-time world champion.
Practices between 2 to 3 hours per week.
Looks like Josh Block has some problems. He's down the front straightaway on the 94 machine. He was running second and then third, then fourth, and now bowing out of the course, has some technical difficulties.
So that's a shame for Josh Block, as he is going to pull off the course, and now it's down to a field of 6, and McCluggage continuing to be well out in front, and really no surprise to see Chris McCluggage performing so well. He's done it at such a high level for such a long time. And you just called him, Larry, the greatest of all time. And you yourself a former 4-time world champion, so that's a pretty big honor for you to throw Chris McCluggage's way.
You know, I met Chris when he first broke into the sport. I think they lied about his age, in fact, to get him out there for the first event. He was a very small young man, and to watch him evolve over the course of his career has been amazing. He makes it look so easy out there. Yesterday I went for my first ride on one of these Pro-Am ski GPs, and I got to tell you, compared to what we used to ride back in the day, there is no comparison. The best way I can phrase it, it was like a rocket-powered skateboard on ice. It was unbelievable.
And they make it look so easy. McCluggage began racing at age 12. He's now 42 years old. Let's get it down to Mackenzie. Third kill on the beach, Mackenzie.
Guys, now you'll notice a lot of these guys are wearing what looks to be like a bulletproof vest, and it is recommended for these riders as they can reach up to 75 miles per hour. And what it is it helps protect their back on the off chance that they fall off their ski and their back gets exposed. Guys.
And no question, you want to try and protect yourself, because when you're going this fast, it is water, but you hit it, guys, and you probably know as much as anybody. Both of you, Mike, you were a 13-year vet on pro watercross races, and when you hit that water at that speed, it's still like hitting concrete.
It is. I mean, you come off at 65, 70 miles per hour. It's like hitting concrete. Luckily, if you can land well, keep your arms and legs in, you don't break anything, but it can still rattle you quite a bit. They call that a yard sale when you come off going that fast.
Approaching 2 minutes remaining here in this race, and then the white flag will come out to determine the final lap. Let the riders know they have 1 lap remaining to navigate the course, and Chris McCluggage just hoping that his machine is able to continue for these final couple of minutes and get him to what would be yet another world title, his 20th world title in his career, if he can get it to the finish line. And the amount of space between McCluggage and the rest of the field right now is just absolutely amazing. McCluggage well out in front, and you see the 24 boat of Derek Helm in second place. Derek again out of Liberty Lake, Washington. But he is really no threat right now to McCluggage. The only thing standing between Chris and another world title is really just being able to stay on the boat and hope everything continues to operate as expected.
Green flag racing underway as Chris McCluggage down the front straightaway. Again, stretching that lead out over boat number 24, Derek Helm, and then 913, Jordan Carroll. Jordan Carroll on that 913 machine. He hails out of Flowery Branch, Georgia.
22 years old. It's his 5th year of racing. A 2-time amateur national champ and a 1-time pro watercross world champ at the amateur level. In fact, Jordan says his mom raced before she knew she was pregnant, and that got the racing blood in him before he even came out of the womb.
And once it's in you, it never goes away.
Yeah, once you're bitten by the bug and you get to experience this just one time, most people are addicted and they just stick with it. That's why you have the riders racing at such a young age and at such an older age.
And now the white flag is going to come out as we've reached the final lap here in Naples. Chris McCluggage, in essence, a victory lap as he has plenty of space to work with. What is he thinking as he's circumnavigating this course for one final lap?
He's feeling good right now, but he's listening. Your awareness is at its highest peak at this point. You're listening for that motor to make sure there's no hiccups before you see that checkered flag.
And now the rain has picked up a little bit. Is that any factor at all?
Well, you're looking at the rain as it comes down. A lot of these guys are used to being hitting the goggles with pump wash, so they're used to white water hitting them in the face. But this is different, and we talked about it earlier. It does sting on the arms.
McCluggage isn't going to have to endure it for much longer as he's making his way towards the back end of the course now. And McCluggage making a turn around the final buoy. And here comes McCluggage across the finish line, the checkered flag, and a 20th World Championship in the storied career for Chris McCluggage as he takes home the title here in Pro-Am Ski GP. Give it up for Chris McCluggage. We will hear from him on the other side of this timeout. This microphone. You want to pull that back anymore? You can if you need to.
I think we're looking pretty good.
All right.
I wonder about this microphone that's out.
Well, Ray, you've got a mic here.
Attention in the pits, attention in the pits. We need to runabout GP. Final race of the day. We need you down to the starting line. Runabout GP. We need you down to the starting line.
Arminio Iantosca?
Arminio Iantosca.
Arminio Iantosca. Arminio Iantosca.
Once again, Runabout GP. We need you down to the starting line. Runabout GP. We need you to the starting line.
The rain's coming from that way, huh? Oh, yeah.
A little bit of liquid sunshine for everybody out there in Naples. We don't call it rain up here. We call it liquid sunshine.
From the east, isn't it?
Once again, Runabout GP. We need you to the starting line. Runabout GP. We need you to the starting line.
Now, I can't see that screen, and this one's too black.
It's a small cell. You can't see this one.
Not very well.
I wonder if we can tweak this one, because I think Dave can see that one well. If we tweak this a little bit more for Mike.
Yeah, do what you need to do. I'm watching this one, so you guys.
Yeah.
I was picking up the back of our conversation.
Check one, check two.
Hey, hey, whammer, whammer. Whammer jammer. Once again, be just a couple of moments here before we go down and talk to Chris and get our Runabout GP started. Once again, I'd like to say a very special thanks to Hidden Trails Sea-Doo and Jetlift, our presenting sponsor this weekend.
Oh no, it's fine. They're about to. It's just water.
So you're 20th world champion?
Yes.
Whoa. They're going through the highlight.
I'm surprised they actually called the red flag.
You're making it look easy out there, and I know this is your 20th World Championship, but to win it in your hometown of Naples, what does that mean to you?
It was great. It's my second year in a row. Last year was the first year of the Pro Watercross World Championships, and you know, second year in a row winning it is awesome. You know, they say hard work pays off, and this time hard work for me consisted of training. My family, which is a pleasure to, you know, it's hard work, but it's a pleasure. But also working on my ski. We had a lot of problems with it, and we've been, you know, slaving away at it for the past week. People like Sam Nemi, Hamilton Texier, my brother Rick, Chad, just all those people, you know, lent a hand, and it's great when you have good friends and a good team that surrounds you. And, you know, while I was gone for almost a week, and my wife took care of the kids, and you know, she's a tough woman, and you know, I'm really blessed to have her. But it's just, you know, it's awesome. But I want to thank Monster, Broward Motorsports, Jet Pilot. They made me a badass wetsuit for this race, and it's still hot and humid in Naples, and you know, I've been away from Naples for about 20 plus years and just moved back recently, so that makes it even better. Way to start off, you know, my new old home, and yes, it's great to be back here, and thank all my friends and family for, you know, for showing up, and thank the Lord above for, you know, not striking us with lightning right now. So I think we're all doing good out here. You know, thanks for everybody that came out, and thanks to CBS, Pro Watercross, and Jet Lift, Maximo Oil, Jet Trim, Jet Pilot. Hamilton Texier did a heck of a job to my ski. He made that thing handle excellent. My Commander K1, we did a couple tricks to it, and paid off. Thank you guys, and we'll see you next year for another title.
All right, thank you and congratulations, Chris.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Chris McClung is getting a little bit emotional. We said during the race that he says, I love my family, clearly on display there. Don't go anywhere. More to come from Naples, Florida, after this time out on CBS Sports Network. Time for ProAm Runabout GP, as 8 racers will decide the World Championship in this class. And we are just about ready for them to go green here on Lake Avalon. And there it is, the start underway, and a pretty good start off the line for Armanio Iantosca. And there's a look at Iantosca as he makes his way towards the split. We'll see whether or not he can pull the whole shot. Looking awfully fast right now as he took that inside split. And Iantosca able to get through and gets your HydroTurf hole shot.
Looks like 109. Eric Francis out of West Palm Beach, Florida on the Kawasaki, going to wrap it up in second. And then I do believe Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine on the Yamaha coming through that right side chicane in third.
Ian Tosca, an 8-time national champ, a 2-time world champ. And guys, he's trying to atone for a poor performance here in Naples last year. Finished 5th in his division after he had a breakdown in a race. And he has all week long been working towards getting some atonement, and a fantastic job getting off the line at the start of this one.
Well, Arminio Iantosca jumped that Sea-Doo off the line there as he went down that hole shot, ran a flawless inside split, came through those buoys, and when we blended together on the merge, Iantosca pulling off that HydroTurf hole shot.
Iantosca, last year was his first chance to race in his hometown when his machine broke down, so he's been looking forward to this for a long time. And he said earlier this week leading up to the race, he said, quote, "I've got a lot better equipment this year. I'm confident I'm not going to get 5th this year."
Well, you know, interestingly enough, Dave, yesterday in the qualifier, Iantosca pulled a killer hole shot, but only went about 100 yards and then broke. He actually changed an entire motor out overnight last night.
And there you see second place right now, the 109 of Eric Francis out of West Palm Beach, Florida.
So Eric Francis down the front straightaway in second. 502, Brian Baldwin out of Catawba, North Carolina on his factory Yamaha, holding on to that third position.
And again, it is a 10-minute race before the white flag comes out, which will indicate the final lap to decide the world champion. As Iantosca continues to be out in front, 22 years he has been racing and is happy to be a Sea-Doo rider. There's a look at the third place watercraft.
Boat number 502, Brian Baldwin, riding for Yamaha. He's going to run the inside split section as he's currently holding on to that third position, trying to make a move on Eric Francis on the 109, who's in second. Baldwin off the inside split, not going to be enough this lap.
Baldwin takes pride in building all his own machines. And Brian Baldwin, 37 years old, has been racing for 18 years. Said he saw it on TV in 1987 and he was hooked. Knew it was what he wanted to do.
And guys, I saw as Baldwin came out of that split, coming down the front straightaway here, his motor shut down for just a beat. He looked down at it and it got hot again and it relit. Something's up.
And that's certainly going to put something in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you're listening for anything unusual at all.
There's a look at the second place boat of Eric Francis.
Eric Francis on the 109 machine, coming off the outside split section. Now there's a lapper between he and Arminio Iantosca, your current leader, so Francis going to have to get by that lapper as Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine, still back there in third, trying to close that gap.
And guys, for Francis, this is his second race of the day. He also rode in the ProAm Runabout Box stock race. And what kind of toll does that take on your body when you're hitting the water twice in a span of a couple of hours?
You know, this is the class that is probably the most physically demanding in that there's so much. I mean, some of these things have in excess of 400 horsepower, 0 to 60 in just over 2 seconds, I think. The G-forces in the turns are just unbelievable. So to try to hang on to that after you've already run a race prior in the day is really something.
The athletic ability that it takes to be able to control these watercraft and the nerves it takes to be able to hit the throttle as much as you need to hit it to go around the turns. I mean, anybody can hit the throttle when you got a straightaway, but when you're still riding that throttle going around a turn, that's when you really have to have control of your machine.
Well, we talked about the G-force that is actually going on in the body and in the machine as they go into these corners. Arminio Iantosca still out in front with Eric Francis trying to close that gap in second and Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine in third.
And these machines can reach speeds up around 90 miles per hour.
Absolutely. These machines in the closed course racing will be pushing 85 miles an hour, pushing 90, right around in there. Earlier in the week, we had machines in the hydro drags do over 100 miles per hour, Dave.
That is a whole lot of horsepower out on the water.
So down the front straightaway, looks like Arminio Iantosca, your current leader, Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine, currently holding on to that second position, and 109, Eric Francis slips back to third.
And we have passed the halfway mark, so less than 5 minutes remaining now before they will put out the white flag. And Ian Tosca, continuing to be out in front, wants to continue to maintain this lead. And second place continues to be Brian Baldwin.
Yeah, Baldwin had made the move and gotten by Eric Francis, and now that he's made that move, he's really starting to close that gap on Ian Tosca. There's a lapper in the way. Ian Tosca goes to the outside split section. Brian Baldwin to the inside, trying to close that gap and not get caught up in lap traffic.
And when you're in the lead, how do you use that lap traffic to your advantage?
You know, at that point, I don't think you even think about trying to strategize. You just want to get by them any way you can. In a perfect world, they've seen the blue and yellow flag, and they move over for you. Sometimes, though, you will get tied up behind them. It can be very frustrating when you've got somebody coming up behind you and you can't get by. The split section is where it all happens.
Mackenzie Thurkill is on the beach, so let's join her now. Mackenzie?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Now, earlier in the broadcast, we talked about forearm pump. And what that is that as these guys are trying to muscle the skis around their buoy, their forearms actually go numb with how heavy they are. Now, Larry, I know this class wasn't your specialty, but I cannot imagine that it's very comfortable.
No, you know, when you feel your arms going away and you're trying to hang on to these beasts, you know, it's the last thing. You try to take your left hand, get it off for a second, try to shake it out, but they're so powerful, so fast, you don't want to let go.
And so many of these riders, in addition to training on their watercraft, they have to spend a lot of time in the gym just getting themselves physically fit to be able to handle the watercraft.
Well, a lot of the racers, have a regiment. They get up in the morning, they run, they lift weights, they go to the lake, they spend time with their machine, with their mechanics, dialing in the machine so that they can be that fast when they come to an event like this at the World Championships.
Armenio Ian Tosca, he got off with a very good start to this race. The HydroTurf hole shot belonged to him, and he's got a very, very good lead right now as he looks to try and hold on to win another world title. And the native of Naples, Florida, happy to be doing it in front of his home crowd. He's got a lot of home support here at the lake today.
Yeah, actually, Dave, Armenio Ian Tosca, the Ian Tosca family, they own a pizza place right here in Naples, Mamma Mia, some of the best sauce that you could possibly experience on a pizza. I think we're going to have a pizza party if he wins, Dave.
I'm down with that, especially after the free plug you just gave him.
Well, I'm known for my freebies. So down the back straightaway, you see Brian Baldwin on the 502 machine trying to close that gap on Ian Tosca. Ian Tosca going to run the outside split section. Here comes Brian Baldwin off the inside section on the Yamaha. It's Yamaha against Sea-Doo right here.
And you see Ian Tosca as he makes his way through that outside split. And Ian Tosca getting the number one as he goes by, which means 1 minute to go, and the white flag will be coming out shortly.
Well, the story here, too, Dave, is Ian Tosca got away with that great hole shot brought to you by Jet Lift and HydroTurf. And Eric Francis was in the hunt for a while on the 109 machine, but he has faded back. Just had to pick up a penalty buoy. That means that he missed a buoy while he was out there racing.
And when you got to double back, that is certainly going to eat up some time, as Ian Tosca has run a clean race since the get-go.
So here they come off the outside split section. Armenio Ian Tosca, a local boy from Naples, Florida, down that front straightaway. 502, Brian Baldwin out of Catawba, North Carolina, trying to close that gap. Sea-Doo against Yamaha. The manufacturer's watching this one close.
And Ian Tosca, next time he comes by, is likely to see that white flag, which means he'll only have one lap to go. Ian Tosca, we mentioned, from Florida. An interesting fact about him, which is extremely unusual for anybody that's from the Sunshine State, does not like seafood.
But he likes pizza.
He does like pizza. No anchovies.
No, thank you.
And we're looking at the GP class, which means that they can make any modifications they want to try and maximize the efficiency and the speed of these machines. And how much goes into the testing week in and week out to try and perfect the machine?
They put a tremendous amount of testing. They a lot of these machines may come from the manufacturer with a supercharger or turbocharger, and a lot of times you'll see the mechanics turning things around. They'll try a turbo instead of a supercharger and back and forth. Everything out here has got one of the two on it, blowers in one form or another. And like I say, well in excess of 400 horsepower on most of them.
And we are on the final lap as the white flag comes out.
So Arminio Iantosca working his way off that back straightaway. Just one split section to go. He's going to choose the outside split, and one more time, Brian Baldwin going to try that inside split to see if he can close that gap.
Brian Baldwin, a long gap to try and make up as Iantosca is coming down, and there it is, the checkered flag for the local boy out of Naples, Florida. Iantosca, for a third time, is a world champion in pro watercross.
Brian Baldwin made that good run to try to close that gap, but just not enough, Dave.
Just too big of a hole. We will hear from the champion when we continue here on CBS Sports Network.
Thanks, buddy.
How do you pronounce it? I just want to make sure.
Yeah, you're good.
You get that right.
Thanks, Randy. Thank you.
And there it is, the start underway, and a pretty good start off the line for Arminio Iantosca. Florida, and it's just
I know, I got to train. Joey, I got to.
unusual for anybody that's from the Sunshine State. Does not gap to try and make up as Iantosca is coming down, and there it is, the checkered flag for the local boy. It's Florida Iantosca for a third.
Arminio, now last year you didn't have the best performance, so to come back this year in your hometown and to just dominate, what does that mean for you?
Yeah, you know, we worked really hard since last year. I ended up hole shotting here last year and broke on lap 2. You know, that's just racing, but hats off to my dad. He is a trooper, dealing with me, running our restaurant, and working on my skis nonstop. He was here till 1:30 in the morning, then again at 6 a.m. And if it wasn't for him, really, I wouldn't even be out here today. So I can't thank him enough, and I've been training really hard. I'd like to give a shout out to Pure Fitness Naples. My trainer Joey's here and all the crew. It really helped. You know, out there you need to be fit on these things. They're fast. And once again, my Sea-Doo watercraft just performed flawlessly. Had a great start, and that's half the battle.
Speaking of your restaurant, are you having a pizza party tonight?
No, we're closed tonight because we're going to party ourselves after this one. But, you know, Monday we'll have a party. Pizza on me.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thanks for everyone coming out and supporting me.
Guys, back to you.
All right, a shout out to his father, Erminio Sr., 62 years old, and he had a big role in this win here today for his son in Naples.
Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we certainly would like to thank all of our Naples locals for coming out and enjoying the Hidden Trails Sea-Doo Pro Watercross Tour presented by Jet Lift. Hope everyone had a great time today. A little bit of liquid sunshine. Didn't mess with us too much, though. Again, I'd like to say congratulations to Chris McCluggage, Sam Nemi, and Erminio Ian Tosca, winners here this afternoon. By the way, for all of you folks who are listening in at the Hidden Trail Sea-Doo Pro Watercross Tour presented by Jet Lift, we'd like to say a very special thanks for tuning in to the World Championships, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Pro Watercross Tour, my name's Mike Young, and we'll see you in 2017.